Welcome to the talk shop.
All right. Yo, my man.
What's going on?
We back.
Yes, sir. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes, same to you, my love.
Did not expect that, but thank you.
And try to share the love today.
Nice. Well appreciated. How are you doing?
Good, man. Good. It's yo, I should tell you. So like PJ's sleep, right? I told you guys last week was a bit of a mess. And I think he was going through like sleep regression, something, whatever. But we noticed that he had started to try and climb out of his crib. Like
To that point, oh shit.
yeah, like he
Scary stuff.
This boy is funny. Like I think he was so upset and yelling because we tried to put him down. We just put him down and walk out. And he was so mad that he cried so hard. And he just like put his body over the railing, and all we heard was boom. We're like, looked at the monitor. He wasn't in his crib.
He fell out.
Fell out.
Shit.
So we went, comforted him. That night we were like, okay, he like come and sleep with us. Like we don't do entertain that, but we're like, if this is the points, let's try again tomorrow. Next day he did it again. But this time we were like, bro, if you're gonna continue this, you're gonna learn from the hard knocks. Like, forget this.
Yep.
So we now realize, okay, 18 months, like pretty much up to 2 years, they say that's when you can try to convert them into a toddler bed.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, maybe he's just early. Let's try. So his crib, like we have a piece that you take out the front and then put on the main piece, and it has a bit of an opening.
Yeah.
First night he slept really well.
Because he was free. He didn't have to move.
Yeah. So we thought, but then the second night, bruh, which was like the night before yesterday, man, he would come out, walk around his room, go to the diaper pail, open it, take books away, take his clothes out of the thing. He was just like messing around,
Destroying the whole place. Yeah.
we were like, and then he was crying as he was doing it. I just converted the bed back. And I said, you know what? If I'd rather you try and fall than deal with this, because I'll put pillows on the ground or whatever.
Exactly.
But like he slept better last night. So I'm like, when you get to 2 and we can reason with you a little bit more, we'll do this. But man.
I'm afraid of that because Kaima is extremely active. Like I'm not exaggerating when I say whenever she's out, she doesn't sit down for more than 10 seconds. Like, I'm not exaggerating. Like she's up and down, destroying things, taking boxes, putting all her toys in it, slamming them down, taking them out. Like it's bad. And our apartment is small, so it's not like there's a lot of space, so you can feel anything she's doing, right? I'm afraid she's gonna start figuring that out soon, how to climb over her railing. Like, because is PJ able to open doors now?
No, he can't do that.
Kaima opens doors. Like she
Well,
knows.
what kind of handles do you have?
We have the
pull down?
The pull down, yeah. Like
he can open the pull downs, but upstairs in the bedrooms it's the turn one.
It's the turn one. Okay, cool. Yeah,
so he can't do that yet.
Yeah. So, but she like, I can only imagine if we let her, like, if we remove the thing, whenever she gets to that point, she can open the door and like come out and like. So, and she's still. Are you guys still using a what do you call it? A white noise machine?
Yeah.
So she's still using that too, but it's crazy, man. Like they're growing up too quickly. Honestly, I'm getting very scared.
It's actually scary. Like the older they get, the scarier shit gets. Like even that white noise machine. So like we have it on the stand, kind of next to him. So the reason why I converted the thing back was because I saw him get up, walk around the rocking chair. There's a humidifier in the room. He grabbed it. I was like, no. And then he decided to grab the sound machine and like was just shaking it. I was like, no, like nah, we have to regroup.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's getting very scary. Exciting too, because I'm hoping that she gets to the point where we can start communicating better. And she can actually understand what I'm saying. I mean, she understands when I say come and stuff like that, but I want her to be able to at least give me a good response to things, She's getting to the point where she's throwing tantrums too. Like when she's crying about stuff, she like cries higher than when she wants you to. She'll scream It's
Mm-hmm.
like the fuck. Where did you learn this from? Like
That's what they
nobody,
do.
nobody here taught you that. How do you know how to do that?
That's what they do.
It's
Like they
terrible.
scream. I was saying this the other day. I was like, the way. So that night, the
Mm-hmm.
way PJ was screaming,
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, I would have called the police on the next person's. It
Yep.
was like they're kissing this
Exactly.
kid for cows get because it's loud. It's like frustrated. They're crying as if they're about to die.
Die exactly, and that's the thing. I'm scared because we live in an apartment building. So if for any reason our neighbors think something is going wrong, then we have a problem. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And they can
Mm-hmm.
call cops. Thankfully, nothing has happened like that. But it's crazy. It's crazy. But it's good.
Wow.
I'm excited too. But it's scary because once they start getting their own autonomy, there's a precarious area where it's like between 1.5 years old and like 3,
Mm-hmm.
where they're still learning about stuff, and but they can really injure themselves because they need to learn on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. We'll see when we get there. We'll cross that bridge. Our parents passed that area, so we can pass it too.
Seriously, seriously, it's
But
wild.
yeah, man. Speaking about home and our parents, man. Yesterday was crazy. It was
You know,
crazy.
like so the NSARS thing died down a little bit, and though they've been having the panels and trying to investigate what happened or trying to investigate what happened, but what happened yesterday kind of took me by surprise because I didn't know. I mean, so like they said they were gonna, what was it, reinstate
Reopen,
the toll gate
reopen
or
told
something,
you, yeah,
and there were these rumors of a protest that was going to happen. In my
yeah.
mind, I went, I'm not going to pay attention to this because after they killed a bunch of people last time, people aren't going to do that.
Mm,
But they did.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. It was very. I mean, in one hand, it's very admirable. On the other hand, it's like dangerous. But I mean, obviously, we understand why they're protesting still because the point is, you haven't convicted anyone. You haven't given us a resolution as to what actually happened. You're more concerned about making money again from, because I'm guessing people still drive through that toll gate, just don't pay anything at this point, right? That's what I'm guessing.
I think from what I heard, that's what it is.
Exactly. So it's LCC, which is a private company. I don't know what it stands for, but LCC, the people that run the pole plaza,
Mm-hmm.
rumored to be owned by a few politicians, want it open again because they want the money. I'm
Mm-hmm.
guessing. So it's like you're more concerned about the money than figuring out what exactly happened here, getting us to a resolution, and compensating, or like at least making us feel better that you did something, to address the situation. So that's for me. I understood why that's why people wanted to go and protest still.
Mm-hmm.
The show of force that the Lagos State government, because I mean it's them, Lagos State Police Department. I made that sound like as if they are LSPD or something like that.
That would be actually better than whatever they call themselves right now.
But like they now, that's the biggest show of paramilitary, like of military force or armed forces that I've seen them organize. Not even people in what's the name of the forest where
In Sambisa,
Sambisa,
guys.
Boko Haram. Nobody is like that. They don't have that much gear. You saw all the tear gas, like ammunition in their
And
vests
they
and stuff
look
like that.
fit. Normally Nigerian police look overweight. These guys look like they've been training. I'm like, these aren't regular cops,
They're
bro.
probably contracted people, but at the same time, yeah, you have those people. Why are they not in the place where they will be affected? You know, and it's the whole theme of you're treating terrorists better than you're treating your lay citizens was all through this whole thing because
Mhm.
when they now arrested them, how they now treated them versus the captured terrorists who they are trying to convert and giving them loans and giving them, you know what I'm saying? Like it's
Mhm.
it's it's crazy.
It
It's
makes
just
no sense.
crazy.
You had over, from what I heard, over 200 of those tactical police, whatever, there. And remember, like the Constitution, Nigerian Constitution defends the right to protest. And these guys, they didn't even get to put up their placards. They were rounded up so quick. And the Black Maria, that's for those who don't know, that's a big van or big truck that they used
Mhm.
to just throw you into when
Mhm.
they arrest you. On the side of it, it said LCC enforcement,
LCC, exactly.
which I'm like, I'm so confused.
Why
Like,
does LCC own a Black Maria? Do they
So
have their own private security? I'm
that's the
confused.
thing. So were these police or private security? That's that's what I'm even starting to think of private security because they were. I'm sure they have more money and
Yep.
more resources than the Nigerian police because those
Exactly.
guys just looked too well equipped to me. Like they just
Exactly.
looked too good.
And
But
and obviously one of the main voices in addition to FKs and the moves and stuff like that is Mr. Macaroni,
mhm.
who is known, and apparently he's been doing this kind of activism since secondary school, like on a low key, obviously, but like protesting or like advocating for his classmates and schoolmates for different things in schools.
Mhm.
When he went to college, he did the same thing as the student body president, stuff like that. So he didn't just start his activism, randomly once he became popular. But yeah, they locked the guy up, and honestly, that video of them stuffed inside that damn
Mhm.
sweating and looking like God, that is very harrowing. First of all, sometimes when videos like that come out, so a policeman filmed that and put it out, thinking what as bad to embarrass Macaroni.
Mhm.
Was that why it came out? Because where they get that video from? Because it's not a journalist taking that video; it was a policeman.
Like these guys, they have revenge and retribution on their mind all the time. They know the guy makes skits about
Mm-hmm.
them,
Mm-hmm.
mocks them, and they want to mock him back.
Mm-hmm.
But did you see the video that he put out today?
Today, yeah, I saw it. I mean, again, these are people. Honestly, being an activist or anybody of that kind in Nigeria is a very dangerous thing. Obviously, recently we haven't seen anything as bad as like people in the 90s or 80s. The people that we hear about, like, well, I'm gonna say names, but I'm not sure if they were all activists. But like, someone like MK Abdullah was killed because of what he was doing and saying. You
Ken Sarowiwa
know,
was
Ken
killed.
Sariwa too. People like journalists that we don't even know their names have probably been killed severally because of stuff like this. So, but then back then it was military rule. So, are we saying we're back to that?
I
Yeah, are
mean,
we
what's the,
saying
what's the real difference if you think
there is
about
none. There's none. That's why
it?
you're right. I was literally. I don't know if I posted the link. I was going to do it in the group chat, but I was listening to what was that guy's name? He's like a lawyer in Nigeria that has dreads and he always wears like he has a beard and stuff like that. I forgot his name. He was on Arisha
Mhm, mhm,
speaking. And the way he was saying, he first of all he called Nigerian government a fascist government. I guess
mhm,
that's what it is. And even though there's still constitutions that protect people. So are you come out and tell us that you're actually a fascist regime
mhm,
and not a democracy? At least so we know, and then we can behave accordingly. Because you pretend to be a democracy, but the constitution of Nigeria, as flawed as it is, specifically says people have the right to protest, and they have the right to protection to allow them to protest
mhm,
peacefully.
mhm,
Now, he said, why didn't anybody, including Jide Sanwo-Olu, who is a pussy, but anyways,
mhm.
why didn't he engage with the people that said they want to protest? Why didn't he? Okay, since they burned down the toll gates, sections have been opened, but for the most part, is like in America or in Canada, toll plazas, sometimes they have gates closed, so
Mhm,
you're using only certain ones. Okay, you're afraid of people blocking traffic, which is what some people that didn't want to protest were saying, right?
mhm,
But which is a valid claim because you don't want to mess up the whole Lagos, that whole thing that happened that October 20th shut down Lagos at that part of Lagos. So
mhm,
I get it. So why don't you call the people that are part of the people that are organizing the protest and say, okay, fine, use this section. We're not going to argue with you. We're not going to open all the lanes. Use this section. Hold your placards. Do whatever you want to do. Obviously, that would probably have been refused because the point of protesting was to block the usage or block the monetization of the toll gates. Not that people shouldn't use it, but they don't want anybody to be charged for toll gates till things are
mhm.
resolved. That's the point. So they made no efforts to do that, and he made the point that every act of violence or any violent uptick in any of these protests have always been initiated by the police or the armed
Always,
forces. Never
always.
by the civilians. Never.
When they tell
So
you that, like, in October, 20th and whatever, and how they came out and said we're gonna do a curfew, right? And everyone needs to stay at home. I think that it's funny that people don't actually consider why that curfew went into place in the first place, and it was because the origin of this was armed thugs, promoted by the police, by the way, started shooting people and killing people in, was it Al-Awsa or something?
Yep.
And then over the course of a couple days, people got upset that the police were still acting erratically. We all saw those videos of them. In fact, one of them was being shot in the back of his or something like that. And then people got mad, and then armed thugs, used that anger to get mad. So the police escalated the situation when the police are supposed to de-escalate the situation. And here you saw police or law enforcement, security personnel, whoever they are, further escalating situation that hadn't even started. Like, as if their mandate was, oh, these guys protested peacefully last time, and we ended up shooting people. So to make sure that we don't shoot anyone, we're just gonna carry them away. Like,
yep.
Honestly speaking, people in leadership in Nigeria are daft. Like, most of them are stupid people. Like, they can't organize anything.
Yep.
It's unbelievable. Like,
yep.
Who has these?
Well, that is not strictly true. They don't organize in the right way to do the right things. The reason why I say that is because the other thing, the guy's name is Dele Faro to me, by the way. One other thing he said is that anytime violence starts in this protest, it is a combination of Nigerian police and hired thugs. Right now, what the thugs do and the people that they hired do is they infiltrate or gives them a reason to say that the protesters started the fights. Meanwhile, it was people that they put into the scene to start the fights who can't be discerned between protester and non-protester. You know what I'm saying? So that at the end of the day, they can say, you people are started fights. It was you people that you youths or whatever that started the arguments, and we just came and finished the whole argument. So it's not our fault. It's you people that escalated it. So that's what they do. And
my problem is that I don't actually understand what they lose by doing the right thing. Like, forget what they want to do. Like, for instance, the whole NSARS thing was about police brutality. What do you lose as a government by saying, you know what? Yeah, you guys have been doing some bad things. I mean, let's look at it on the surface of it. Okay, Buhari came out later and said we have, like, SARS is gone. Okay, like, forget whether it's true, but that's what he said, and that they're going to review police salaries, which is something that was demanded. They're going to have judicial panels and all those things, right? What is wrong with Buhari coming out in the beginning saying this, and while he's saying it, telling police, hey, roll back? Because you're already saying to the people, yeah, you have a point. You guess. So why are you now being strong arming these people? They, like, what you can gain goodwill. For example, Buhari has had a shitty presidency. He could have gained a lot of goodwill with people if he came down on the side of people and said, you know what, yeah, this is wrong, but you don't even have to offend them, the police, because they want to pay the police more. That's one of the demands. So if he comes out and says, we're going to pay you guys more, we're going to give you insurance, we're going to take care of your families, and we're going to make sure you don't kill people, it's a win-win. They gave it to him on a platter, and they still said, no, we have to show strength. Like, I don't get it.
I think it's just a symptom of just the fact that Nigeria has never ever really been a real democracy. Like, it's still very much authoritarian in the way it does things. The rule is whatever one person says or whatever one group of people say. It's never what the people want. And like you said, though, why is it that they would think they'll lose money by not being that way? But you wouldn't. If everyone was free to do whatever they want to do illegally, you would probably still make a lot of money from all your ventures or whatever you think you are protecting by being this way. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. It's the state of our country, and Well, we'll see if anything changes. The truth is that until these people leave government, and hopefully people coming after are better, because when you see all these younger northern politicians that are coming up and their Twitter accounts and the things they say, they're almost as bad, if not worse, and they're probably going to do worse things when they get into power.
Seriously.
So we can only pray. We
It's a
can
very
only
big
pray.
mess.
But yeah, thank God those people got out at least. FK and her crew are still working, all the lawyers, so they were able to
And
get people out.
they'll come under them. Man, those guys are better people than me. They're better people
So
than me.
exactly. So at least those people were able to be freed. Macaroni came out with a statement today, so I'm sure most people have seen that. Good for him, but yeah, it's terrible, man. I don't even know what to say. It's insufferable. It's crazy.
Seriously.
But yeah, let's move away from that, man. For now, what do you want to talk about first?
Let's do WandaVision. Let's get into that.
Okay.
This is our second. We have to speak on these things in our hearts, guys. In the beginning, it's home, but these are going to be our reviews and talk about entertainment things that we like. And WandaVision is one of them that I'm still weirdly like I'm anticipating some hot stuff. You know what I mean? And that's like I'm enjoying it so far, but I'm still like, where is that thing that it's gonna hook me? Like boom, I'm waiting for that. But I think overall it's a good show. Like
I like it. I mean, obviously, I was always gonna watch it, just because you're a Disney fan, Marvel fan, even if it gets reviewed and it's deemed trash maybe by some people, I was always going to watch it from beginning to end, only because I want to see what it's about. Obviously it started rough. If you were not patient enough, the first 2 episodes, maybe even 3, were like, what the hell is going on here? What's the point of this show? Blah 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 blah. Obviously by the end you get it, but like, if you stay on, it pays off, and I think there will be a payoff, like you're saying. I don't know when it will come, but yeah, there will be a payoff. But yeah, we can begin by, I don't know if you want to just do like each episode, or kind of like the first 2, the middle 2, and then the 5th one.
The first, so the premise of the show is that Wanda and Vision are living in this town and living a great suburban life.
Yep.
Now, but they're giving you the story in the context of sitcoms. So from a creative artistic point of view, I really do like the show, because they're showing you the history and evolution of the sitcom format through the show, because it starts in black and white and early sitcoms, I think from the 40s or 50s, something like that. 50s. That's the style that they're going for. Yeah. And then it progresses every episode. And the first episode is literally just him hosting his boss. Like, they're hosting his boss, I think. And you're like, what? Like, what is the point? And some weird things happen here and there, but I think they were just establishing this is what, like, we're doing here. The sitcom. And that's all it is. It's like, it's not bad, it's not good, it's just kind of like, huh?
Weird. It's like, what is the point of this? Exactly. And like, I mean, you begin to, when you watch it back and when you really think about it, or when you really understand, when you get to like the 4th or 5th episode and you understand what's going on, then like, oh, episode 1, when this happened, I get what was happening there. And episode 2, when this weird thing happened, I get what was happening there and what the purpose of was and stuff like that. So it started building, and you're right. That first episode was like, what's going on here, And then the second episode was which one? The talent show. Yeah. So that one too, I liked. I like again. They moved into like the 60s or 70s, so the comedy became a little bit like different. They showed like the not the stick drawing, but like the cartoon drawing, the gum going into his mechanical insides, which I don't really know if that's actually how his insides are, because he's supposed to be a cyborg, or when they created him, he wasn't an actual like robot. He was part flesh, right? He was synthesized human. Like, he wasn't a machine. He wasn't built like a Tony Stark suit. He wasn't. He was
He's
built.
a synthezoid, they call it, right?
Yeah,
I
it's
think
a synthesized something, yeah. But anyways, I wouldn't imagine that his insides would be gears. But anyways, that was the whole
I
like
think that's just comedic effect more than
exactly,
anything else.
exactly. So that was interesting. And then we were introduced in that episode to uh,
Geraldine is
Rambo.
how,
Was
yeah,
what she was called there. Yes, she was called Geraldine at
mm,
that point. Yeah,
but she's really
and
Monica Rambo.
yeah. Um, so that was that episode, and obviously strange things happened. Magic show. He flew for a little bit. He carried a whole piano, but they
Yeah, he's showing
covered
them his abilities, but
his
covering it up.
abilities
It's a magic
exactly.
show. Like,
But
ooh, how
Wanda
did you?
covered it up exactly. Yeah. So that was interesting. And then episode 3,
What happens in episode 3?
isn't
Oh,
that the one where?
she's pregnant. We forgot about that.
Yep,
Well,
yep.
episode 3 is where you start to understand that she's pregnant,
But she got
and
pregnant. They talked about her being pregnant at the end of episode 2. No.
yeah, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
And then obviously it took a whole episode for the kids to for the baby to come out from 1 week
Yeah,
to
we started
9 months.
every 5 minutes. She was like, "I'm 4 months. I'm
Yep,
8 months. Baby's here." Like,
yep. And then obviously we're introduced to Geraldine again, and this is where the story starts to take more flesh.
Mhm.
Different random things start to happen. That's when Monica was kicked out, but we didn't know that at that point. But she disappeared, and we saw the neighbors like whispering to themselves and almost revealing to Vision that something was wrong.
that was
You
when he
know
started to suspect because they were like, "Geraldine is a," but they never said what she
exactly,
is. And
exactly.
Geraldine starts revealing things. It feels like unknowingly, by the way. It didn't seem
Yeah.
like she was in control of the situation. She's
So
like,
so
she
now
meant all for one.
I mean I'm guessing people watching this have watched it, or they would to this point. Hopefully they would have watched it. So I'm gonna speak freely because we've watched everything now, so we can talk about it. I was only doing progression because just trying to follow, but at this point, so like I think because even if you think about it, the neighbors talking alone is a deviation from the original. Because okay, Wanda has everyone in that town doing her bidding essentially.
Mhm.
Um, at first I thought it was full mind control. By the time we get to episode 4, 5, when the lady, her noisy neighbor, is asking her permission to do stuff,
Mhm.
I'm a little bit confused. Is it that it's breaking down, and or that person is complying because they've been threatened, or even when the neighbors were talking, does that mean they knew that they were in a prison and they were beginning to whisper, or were they thinking, oh, Geraldine was here to help us because she's from outside? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I think that's the part that I'm hoping kind of comes together because it does seem on the surface of it that Wanda controls everything.
Yeah.
But so like remember in episode 2, she's having the conversation with that blonde woman, the bossy one, and I think something like obviously through the radio, the people were feeding stuff. We didn't know that at the time. They were feeding a message to her through the radio, but a message wasn't coming through on the because the agents, the SWORD agents, are watching this sitcom on their end, but all the stuff that they put through doesn't come out, right? So they're like, Wanda's actually controlling what you see. I'm not convinced. Wanda is the one controlling what you see. I think in my head, Wanda is protecting herself because she wants Vision back and she wants the life that she wants, and she's created this little thing. I do believe that she controls a certain aspect, but clearly, that scene where they're like Geraldine is a whatever, that she's lost control, or there's something, or something is pushing back.
Something
somehow.
is breaking. Something is breaking.
Yeah,
but if you think about it though, if you think about it as a mental thing, the first 2 episodes, even the first episode, she was already losing control because the sitcom didn't go. She was letting it flow as normal. It also didn't seem like the people were answering to her. They were actually behaving normal. And then when the guy started to choke, Well, then again, actually, now I think about it, when the guy started choke, the wife was asking her to help him or for him to stop it.
She was
And
killing.
she was telling. No, no. Yeah, my point is this: if you look at it, if you watch it very well, the wife from How I Met Your Mother, sorry, from that '70s show,
Mm.
was looking at Wanda and saying, "Stop it, stop it." In my
Mm-hmm.
mind, it's like, okay, she's either saying him to stop joking about because that wasn't part of the script. He knows what the
Mm-hmm.
script is. That wasn't part of the script, so he was deviating. But she was also begging Wanda to let Vision help in a way that's, it looked like a glitch. Because
Mm-hmm.
once he got helped, he said, "We're not eating anymore. You're doing a good job. You have a future in the company," and they just left.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one. She doesn't necessarily control everything that actually happens. Like the conversations and stuff are organic. Anything that
Mm-hmm.
happens to anybody in the town actually happens to them. And ordinarily, she wouldn't like step in. She's supposed to let it just flow. But for some reason, things keep happening that make her have to interfere. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
So
see. I see
even
what you're
from
saying.
even from then, so I think there's two things. I think she has some control over them because they can't leave, but at the same time, they have autonomy to do whatever they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because the same thing with the doctor. Why didn't he realize till later that he couldn't leave the bubble? He could. The car broke down because he's not supposed to leave the bubble.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then at the
Yeah.
end, when he was leaving, he was like, "You can't seem to escape. Even when you want to, you can't seem to escape." Remember when he said that to Vision?
Yeah. Yeah.
Essentially, it's like, did he not know that that was the stipulations of him being there, or was he completely mind controlled? And even when you go to the Indian guy that's his colleague, how he snapped out and said, "Wanda is controlling everything. She's very mean. I can't do anything. Please let me go. Where's my phone? Where's my sister? Whatever, whatever." And then Vision restored whatever control Wanda had over him, and it went. You know what I'm saying? Like, so how controlled
That
are they? Are they very controlled or are they not controlled? There's a
that
mix in there.
confused me because, like, I mean, I'm like, if someone controls me, how do I know it's you? Yeah, I mean, like, I'm like, how vividly, like, how would you be that um
Details to know it's
informed?
Wanda.
Yeah, that it's Wanda. Like,
That's
I
what I'm
feel
saying.
like there's an opposing force somewhere as well. I've read people's
Mm,
theories and this people's theories about, like, Mephisto, and you know there's
mm,
a push and a pull from the magic side,
mm.
um, and I'm like, okay, well, let me see it. But it's just to that particular point, Agnes. So you haven't seen the Halloween episode, so I won't tell you.
No,
But
yeah.
there there's something that happens that you're like, but do you know? you
Agnes is
know?
the noisy neighbor, no?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
she does though. In the fifth episode, she legitimately like says she'll help raise the kids, and then something goes out of whack, and Vision is like, "Why did she say that?" Or like, "Why is she so content that the kids grew up in a second and she's not reacting anyhow?" Or
Mhm.
something happened and she said she had to start over again, scene over again, because she was going to
Mhm.
go back out and come back in and do the whole scene again.
Yeah.
So I think she does know. She
It's
knows.
as if she knows, and then she blanks. Like, when you see episode 6, you'll see what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I think it's a combination of things. I think it's Wanda controlling everything, but I think she's starting to lose control a little bit because of the outside factors. And maybe
mhm.
there's another magical factor, but I think just Sword and the FBI interfering is causing her to an imbalance. Like
I
she's
think so.
she's she's rattled. So now anything is going, like anything can get in, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Also, I just think from anyone just breaching, because most of the issues started. If you want to think about it,
The major
start,
issues
started
anyway. When Monica came in,
started when Monica came in. But
or even
remember when the helicopter, the drone
drone.
came in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So, but that was episode two too. But I think some. But can't you remember things happened in episode one? So I don't
Do
know
you
what
remember
caused it.
what episode was it where the guy came in from the sewer
Sewer, yeah,
wearing like a bee hat, and they were
yeah,
freaked out?
yeah.
And obviously, Vision didn't know what the hell he was looking at, but
Yep.
like Wanda was freaked out, and the guy just went away.
Yep.
Have you seen what? Did they say? Was it episode 5 where they showed?
It was
What
three,
was it?
and it was the guy going through the sewer from the other side, and it was converted. I don't know. I converted into something in the time. Now, remember the big thuds they kept hearing, and the tree rattling.
Yeah,
I think that was all happening whenever they were sending drones in.
that could make sense actually.
Like that's what it is. Like, any interference at all causes that big boom. Because remember, they ran outside because of the boom. They went to see that beekeeper guy.
That's when they saw the beekeeper guy when they
Because
came
of the
out.
big boom. Because of the boom, right? So that's the reason why. So I think anything that breaches the barrier causes that thing to shake. Essentially, for her to shake, right?
Mhm.
And episode 5 was the one when this is the last one when she came out.
And her brother showed up.
Bro, what the fuck is that? First of all, is this supposed to be the same brother, or because she's confused? She's confused too.
So
That he shows up.
I'll say that this was well played by Marvel because they recasted him, right? So and you know, like what's her name? Kat Dennings, the scientist with the glasses. She was like, oh, she recast Pietro, like in that. But you know who that guy is?
He's Silver, right? Quicksilver or whatever, right? Isn't he? Oh, sorry, he's from X-Men.
Yeah, so it's like he's the same character because her brother Pietro is Quicksilver. But
wait. So that's what I was gonna ask you. Is it the same Quicksilver? Like, is it the same person from X-Men that was recruited to be an X-Man? That's the same person from wherever they're from.
So her brother, let me see if I get this right. Pietro. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he specifically is Quicksilver or is just fast. I'm trying to remember that.
Quicksilver is the kid because that's the name they gave him in X-Men.
He is. Quicksilver is Pietro Maximoff. So I think what they did in X-Men movies, I have to go watch them again, is that they sort of made him American. But like Quicksilver, the character is actually this guy. So they obviously couldn't get the same guy back, so they just were like, hey, we got him, and then they're like,
why would they use the same guy if it's not the same character, right? If there's no link between X-Men universe and this universe, which there should be, but if there's no apparent link, why would they merge them?
I have a theory. I think now that they have those characters back, right? Now Disney has bought Fox and everything, right? They have those characters back. I have a feeling this is a way, like they're going to do many different integrations with that
crossover
way. Because my theory is this: she's brought her brother back, right? And they've recasted him as this guy. Mm-hmm. I think he actually was sent by somebody. Like she wanted her brother back, obviously, but I think he was sent by someone. Because even the way she acts, she's like, something's off with you. Yep, like if you're controlling the situation, why are you wondering why something is off here? It doesn't make sense. But I think she intended to bring her brother, and someone magical intercepted her wish or whatever, sent him. And I have a strange feeling, I've never heard this from anyone or anywhere, that it's gonna be revealed that has bad intentions, and then you'll see her actual brother from the Avengers show up. I think that's how the universes kind of start to fuse.
But why does he have evil intentions?
I don't know if he has
the next man
with someone else.
Okay.
And also, I have no other reason for that except for I've heard people talk about this Mephisto and Mephisto being the opposite magically of her. And it's people who know Marvel comics better than me are having these theories about like what's going on potentially.
Do you think her sons have any powers?
I'm not gonna say anything.
Because clearly they probably do. But
that's how I'm gonna say.
But because like they pretty much egged her on to bring back her brother at that point. That's what they were doing at that point, right? Like at some point during the episode, they were like, "Why can't you bring back anyone you wanted to? Like bring back the dog that died. Was it a dog or was it the dog? What was it? A dog. And they were saying, "Why can't you bring him back? You brought Dad back." That's when Vision came and talked to them. How did they know she brought him back?
Vision was like, "What?"
Exactly. How did they know? You know?
I don't
And
know.
I'm just wondering how he will react because, first of all, they need to explain to us how he actually is alive because no fucking clue. Like what she did, how she did it. You know what I mean? Like it's insane. If she could actually, if she can actually resurrect people, that's she's very powerful, like extremely powerful. You know.
The next episode
So
is going to be really crucial for you.
okay, good,
It's
good. So I'll watch it.
really.
I'll watch it
It
tonight.
doesn't explain what you're talking about, but it
Mm.
gives you an idea and a little bit
Okay.
of clarity. But you still
Okay.
won't know. But it'll just give you some, at least some clarity to that last question that you kind of asked.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move away from. I want to do all like talk about a little bit about all the payoffs, so like all the resurrections, you know, like all the bring backs and like, oh, this is actually that person, or this is actually that person, because the nerd girl is from Thor, isn't she? She's the same girl, same character.
I think so. Yeah. I think.
She's
Yeah.
exactly the same character because she was astrophysicist in that too, helping the guy, helping like she was friends with his girlfriend and helping the professor do all those things. So she's the same exact girl, right?
Yep. You're right. For the Dark World,
Yep. And
she
then
wasn't Thor. Yeah.
and then obviously Monica is the original Rambo's daughter. I didn't realize that until I saw the picture on the wall at Sword. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
realize that like she's actually her daughter. So, but then she also has an adverse reaction to the mention of Captain Marvel. I wonder why. She doesn't like think of her like her auntie or like special. There was a time when that her colleague was talking about Captain Marvel or said something about Captain Marvel, and she
Mm.
didn't. Somebody mentioned Captain Marvel and she didn't really like react as a
Monica now.
sorry Monica. Yes,
Okay.
she
I
didn't
think.
react in any way that made me think she liked Captain Marvel. Like I feel like she feels like they were abandoned by Captain Marvel. She probably knows her as a person, but remember, Captain Marvel was away from the world for years after she left the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Theoretically, like she left her and her mom at the barn and left,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then after that, that's when her mom created Sword and all those things and became a pilot and a space explorer stuff like that. So either she never came back to say hi or never like acknowledged their friendship or whatever, but something is there between her and Captain Marvel. At least it made it seem that way to me.
She's gonna be in Captain Marvel too, so I think they're gonna elaborate on that as well.
Exactly, exactly. And then what else did I notice? I don't know. Sorry, you can talk. I'll remember what I wanted to
No,
say.
I'm thinking of. I think that Jimmy Woo guy is from something. I can't remember.
Agents of
Uh,
Shield.
I think he's from Agent. Like I think that the thing is, with what Marvel's doing really well here is that they're pulling together the universes.
Yep.
Right? Not the universes, everything. Like they're continuing with the shared universe and putting things together, which is
Timelines.
they're still talking about how everyone was dead for 5 years.
Disappearance. Exactly.
There's mentioned Ultron multiple times, so I'm like, is Ultron gonna show up in this thing? Like,
No,
can he show up in this thing? He's dead,
I,
isn't he? Like,
I don't think so. I think it's more a fact that they're in the same timeline, so everyone in the world knows what's happened in the last few years. Because like how the girl said Vision is supposed to be dead, right? Like in the beginning when they first saw him on TV, they were all confused because they know exactly what happened in Endgame and Infinity War. Essentially, everything here is well, 5 years after Infinity War, so just before Endgame, I think. Wait,
I think this is after.
it's after. But
I
then
think this
she
is
woke. But then she woke up. When? Why? Why did she wake up after everyone woke? Because theoretically, everybody woke up the same time in Endgame.
Well, wouldn't Mon Rambo have died? And then, like, when the died, and then 5 years, because
That's
they
what
were
I'm
like, you
saying.
were gone for 5 years, right?
That's what I'm
So she,
saying. So when she came back after the reverse snap, right? Isn't that when T'Challa came to help Captain America? All those kind of things. At that point,
yes.
so like I'm confused as to when Endgame actually happens, because Wanda came to fight, but Vision didn't. So are we in between?
Oh! You need to watch the next episode.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Because
I'll say this: it's after Endgame.
It's after Endgame.
This thing is after Endgame.
Okay. So
It's
does that
very
mean?
clearly after Endgame. Yeah.
Does that mean? Does that mean? Means I guess theoretically she could have participated in Endgame, or Endgame just happened as they were all dealing with, because I think she took like 3 weeks break after she woke up initially, right before she went back to Sword. She took a break. I think it wasn't immediately after she left the hospital she went to Sword. She took her time. I think they made it seem like she did. So, anyways, you said they paid off in episode 6 a little bit. So I'll wait and see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the show is very good.
It's definitely, I like stuff like that. Like even movies like that, like Memento and stuff, where you're like, how, like, you know, the Tarantino movies where stuff happens out of order and you're like, what's going on? And at the end they tie and you're like, oh, okay, that was this, that was this and this. I love stuff like that. So I'm excited to see how the next episodes unravel. Because
by the way, is Tenet like that for what do you call that other movie? The Leo movie.
Nah, they're not related at all.
They're at all? Okay.
No,
I wasn't sure. Okay.
Tenet is like that for its own self.
Okay. All right, cool. But yeah, I like the show. I'm enjoying it. You know, I knew that to build up to something. I actually made Amaka start it after I'd already watched the first 4 episodes. Mm-hmm. And she was going to give up the first few episodes. I'm like, nah, wait, it pays off eventually. So now she's invested. That's why we're talking about it. So yeah, hopefully we watch episode 6 tonight and catch up.
It's definitely a good one. Well, watch that tonight.
Good. I will. And yeah, the final finale for the episode we were talking about today. Today is what, Sunday the 14th, and today, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Today, Snyder Cut trailer came out, the 2-minute 20 version.
Speaking of things that will pay off, like Batman vs Superman will make a lot more sense to you after this movie. Let me just put that.
So what's the timeline for that? Which one comes before which?
Oh, it's all order. So Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Justice League.
Okay,
but so the reason I said that there are scenes in Batman vs Superman that clearly happen in the future, and Justice League explains what those things are and ties it all together.
So in the regular or in the extended version, the Snyder Cut version of Batman vs Superman,
you get the idea with both, but better with the Ultimate Edition.
So now Ultimate Edition, I don't know if I've watched it. You mentioned it to me before. I think I'll go back and watch it sometime soon. Just
let's paint the story here a little bit.
Okay.
We're talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and how well interconnected and everything is. It's all been planned out by one person, Kevin Feige, and as your director, you come in and you do what he says. Brilliant. He's a genius, by the way. I really like the guy. DC's approach was, well, we're Warner Brothers. We're a filmmaker studio. You know, we're not Marvel Studios. So we want you to make great movies. And that pans out one of two ways. You either get the Joker, so the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, which is a cinematic success, and Oscars are given out to people, or you get some shitty Batman and Robin, George Clooney, 1997. Like, you know? So they decided after Man of Steel, which was a good movie, but a little bit polarizing, Batman vs Superman, they were like, okay, bro, you want to make a 3-hour movie? No. 2 hours, 30 minutes max, because that's what Marvel does. It's like, that doesn't... Snyder's like, why? Like, let's just make the movie we want to make. Like, so he had to take out 30 minutes of the movie, and people hated it. They were like, this movie's trash, this, that. And the interesting thing was, before just the Batman vs Superman came out, they announced that there would be an Ultimate Edition. That never happens. You never just announce that before the movie. You wait for the movie has been received by critics, and then you announce the Ultimate Cut. So clearly, there was a conflict behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. Ultimate Edition comes out, and a lot of people are like, huh? Why did they take that out? Like, now I understand why Lex did this. I understand why, because a lot of it is Lex and Lois. Like, the beginning of Batman vs Superman, where they frame him, you understand how they framed him, why he's going to the Senate. You understand how Lex manipulated the situation between Superman and Batman, because it doesn't really make sense in the theatrical movie. It's like, why are they fighting? I don't get it. But you get all that. And it's like, how could you, just for the sake of time, like, remove this? But anyway, the movie made 900 million. They wanted to make $1 billion. They got upset, and the reason they got upset was, and this is important to know, when they announced Batman vs Superman, Marvel got scared, and Marvel then announced Civil War, and put them on the same day.
Oh wow!
And then DC said, "We're not yet there to compete with Marvel," so they moved it.
Mm-hmm.
But when they moved it, they were like, "It's going to be happy. Marvel's going to be this or that," and you know how Marvel is. So then they freaked out and they changed 2 movies. They changed Suicide Squad and they changed Justice League. And they literally had both those movies fully filmed. And they were like, nah, fam, we got to make people laugh. We got to make it this. So Suicide Squad is a shit movie. But you would see, like, you see the first trailers versus the trailers at the end. And then you can see they cut a lot of stuff and it's different. It was both films are very, very serious.
But is there a special edition of Suicide Squad, by the way?
No, but people are campaigning for it. They're campaigning for the Ayer cut right now. So, for example, in Suicide Squad, Jared Leto's Joker, 90% of his scenes are cut out. So you see him for, I think he has only 20 minutes in the movie.
Few scenes, very few scenes, actually.
Yeah, his scenes are all cut out, and people are like, he's a shitty Joker. And it's like, well, you haven't even seen it, like, actually. So they did all that. Both movies turned up trash, like trash. Justice League, like, there's a video you can watch on Justice League where they literally show you, like Ben Affleck's hairline is different because they did reshoots. Mm-hmm. Like he has a different beard, like
stash gates,
like the stash thing, like with Henry Cavill, because he had a mustache from Mission Impossible, and they didn't let him shave it, so they had to remove it, and it was like amateurs showed what they did on their own computers. And they were like,
it was bad. It was very bad. I noticed it from that the first day I watched it. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Like,
it was bad.
It was very bad.
I didn't even watch the movie in theaters because like I heard all this stuff. I'm like,
who did that? Why would they even pay that person anymore? And like, so you're saying that's because they came back after they had finished originally Snyder's version, and they came back to reshoot, and obviously because of his contract with Mission Impossible, he couldn't shave the mustache. Yeah. So
they asked Paramount, I think, if he could shave it, and then they'll pay for them to get like, you know, a fake mustache to use a Mission Impossible. They're like, fuck off, like no. So the backstory is they made these changes and the movies were trash, but in reality, what happened with the changes in Justice League were actually deeper. Zack Snyder, they had asked him to make it lighter, and he had said, okay, I'll do it. But he was obviously fighting for certain components to still exist in the movie. Then his daughter committed suicide. And he felt, I can't keep fighting you while dealing with my personal grief. Like, it's not worth it to fight you guys when, like, I'm fucking reeling here from the death of my daughter. So he left. And they brought Joss Whedon. Happy Avengers Joss Whedon. And they lied to everyone and said, we're not really changing it. We're just finishing what he couldn't finish. Meanwhile, they filmed the whole movie again. Mm-hmm. Like, there are scenes, like, where they fought Superman in the park. They showed some original scenes that Zack shot and some scenes that Joss Whedon shot. And you can clearly see it's AstroTurf. And, like, where Whedon shot it. And, like, the lighting is completely different. And even like Batman, there's a scene where he's lying on the ground, and he's like, like kind of joking around, like, "Oh man, he hits really hard, whatever." And they're like, "Batman doesn't laugh like this."
Oh God,
what's going on?
God.
And even like weird scenes, like there's a scene on the rooftop to open the movie where Ben Affleck stops a burglar, and he's like, "Alfred, are you seeing this?" And they're like, why the fuck are you saying Alfred's name in front of a burglar? Like, he's Batman. Clearly they're gonna go, Bruce Wayne has a butler called Alfred, and this burglar can sell the story. And in that scene I was talking about, in where Batman, well, you know, when Superman's fighting the League, they bring Lois Lane, right? And Lois Lane shows up and goes, Clark! And there are cops right there. It's like,
oh, wow, yeah.
Never do that. Like, it's just amateur and just dumb.
Yeah.
Like, the movie is just dumb. But
why they even, like, it's crazy. The whole thing just doesn't make sense as to why they even let that happen. Like, why would you not let someone who understands how these things look edit it, or at least give advice? Like, You just want to do something different. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. Like if somebody there just had a really bad like year or whatever and just decided to fuck the whole thing up. I don't think like you can't really things like what you just said about saying people's real names. Like that's to me is dumb. Like you know the whole story. Why would you like that's just an error
Mm-hmm.
in directing, an error because Joss Whedon, like you said, generally his movies are good. Like it's not we don't have any issues with them. Does he generally make stupid mistakes like that in his own in other movies? I don't think
No,
so.
I blame him and I don't blame him at the same time. I don't because the studio asked him to do a job and they probably didn't give him enough time and enough money to do it. Like, I get that. However, I blame him because there was lots of abuse on the set.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a scene in Justice League where Flash falls on top of Wonder Woman and lands on her boobs and then acts really like awkward about it.
Mm-hmm.
And Gal Gadot did not want to film that scene. She's like, this is fucking dumb. Like, these characters would not interact this way, would not do this. And even then, this is like fucking sexist. Like, let's not go here. Let's be mature about this. And Joss Whedon apparently threatened her somehow and whatever, to the point that it's not even her in the scene. It's a body double. So and she reported it, whatever. And the producers who didn't like Snyder and brought in Whedon, apparently they threatened Ray Fisher's career, Ray Fisher's Cyborg, because they wanted him to say "Booyah," which is his catchphrase
in the cartoon. Yes,
but like it's a serious movie. Why does he have to say that? It's not even in the comics that he says that. So they clashed over that. Ben Affleck was really upset, drove him to alcoholism, or made it worse, and Jason Momoa just made him completely useless.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of stuff went on behind the scenes, and apparently Whedon was one of the people who was trashing Zack Snyder a lot. And remember, just Zack Snyder, these people love him. That cast loves him, and they didn't want to deal with that. So some of the performances are just garbage because as a result. But it gets worse in that the execs, Walter Hamada, Tommy Emmerich, these guys were like, we're never working with Zack again. We fucking hate this guy. And it's like, why? Like, everyone else who works with him likes him. Meanwhile, Joss Whedon has a history of abusing people. Mm-hmm. So just this week, 3 members of the cast of Buffy came out and said he was abusive, he was sexually inappropriate, and in fact, he fired one of them because she got pregnant. Wow. She got pregnant, and he asked her, "Are you going to keep it?" And she's like, "What?" And apparently he's an atheist and he was making fun of her for her religious beliefs. And she told him that, later on, her doctor told her that, you need to cut down your hours because, you're a high risk pregnancy now. And he called her in at 1 a.m. to film scenes. And she told him that he wouldn't. And she said, "Then I'm going to fire you." So she felt, as a breadwinner, I have to go in. She went in. Next thing, Braxton Hicks contractions. She has the baby early. Like, wow. This is the type of guy that they employed, and there were these producers who were just as toxic, and all of them have now lost their jobs or are being phased out from Warner Brothers because of their actions.
Damn.
So
and he has some, I guess, okay stuff. Like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to me is trash, but whatever. That's crazy.
His claim to fame is Avengers, right? Like that's really what it is. But in the on the positive, a lot of the fans saw the movie Justice League. I didn't, and they said it's clearly 2 different visions. Yeah. And if you don't like Zack Snyder as a director, the one thing everyone knows is his visual aesthetic is unmatched. I think he makes the prettiest movies to watch. Mm-hmm. Like if you just look at like the action sequences or the scenery, even from 300 to Watchmen to it's always the most beautiful thing you'll see.
Did Zack do WW84?
No, he's a producer though. He's a producer.
That movie was trash, but okay. It visually looked good, but it was a trash movie.
So I'll tell you this: the first Wonder movie, I liked it a lot, and he was a bit more hands-on on that in terms of story. The second one, he's like, "Patty, do your thing." So just putting that out there, and that's also because WB were like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah,
but so
visually it was good, but Everything else was trash. But anyways,
exactly. It wasn't good, and it wasn't good because she didn't want her to fight, and Zack loves women to fight. So again, it's like this.
who didn't want him? Who didn't want her to fight?
So in Wonder Woman 84, Patty Jenkins and the studio, and Patty Jenkins is a good director, but I think the studio were kind of like light, funny, ha ha ha, right? That's what they kind of wanted.
They did too much of that.
They were like, the end sequence wasn't going to be a big fight. It was supposed to be Wonder Woman helping this guy to understand the consequences of his actions, and she just talked him down essentially, right? So they were like, this levity and lightness, and this is what we need in the world, and positivity, and blah blah blah. And then 2 weeks later, no, a week after, Snyder released a picture of Wonder Woman that he had taken before they shot the first one, before they got the director on board, and it was a video of her holding a head, and it was a head of of a monster or something like that she had slaughtered with a bunch of people behind him, and he goes, "This is my Wonder Woman." But
oh God,
to finish off the story, a bunch of fans got together and said, we got robbed of what our original vision is. And these are a lot of fans who came out, either fans originally or fans who watched Batman vs Superman, the Ultimate Edition, and realized this studio has fucked shit up for us. They got together, they raised a bunch of money, they went to Comic-Con, and the most on social media talked about movie in 2019 Comic-Con. Remember, Avengers Endgame is in theaters, I think, and Infinity War, one of the two. But the most talked about movie was a Snyder Cut, a movie that didn't even exist technically. They did the banners, the plane banners. They got a billboard at Times Square. They did all this stuff, and they raised money for American Foundation for Suicide Prevention as a result of that. So they did all this stuff, and they would comment on any post Warner Brothers put out, like release Snyder Cut, and they went nuts to the point that when AT&T bought them, AT&T were like, what the fuck is a Snyder Cut? Like we can't. Apparently, the people were picking up the phones for support calls. People were like, Snyder Cut! Like, it was nuts. So AT&T calls Zack in. They're like, listen, we keep hearing about this thing. We want to, like, what is it? He shows it to them, and they're like, who the fuck? Like, Jason Keel, as CEO, apparently, reportedly was like, who approved this? Like who cut this stuff? This is amazing. So that's when they got to talk to me.
So it's AT&T, not WB. Like, WB was bought by AT&T, so it's AT&T execs that kind of did this, right?
AT&T execs did it, and part of it was HBO Max coming out. They need content, and they were like, A, we need content. B, this is amazing, and C, like AT&T, like they're very involved. It's AT&T as the overall owner promotes this stuff. Like they tweet Snyder Cut stuff, and it's like that's like Comcast doing that. Like they don't do that like for anything. So it's huge, and the way it's trending right now, you can't escape it. And they're not even marketing it. It's just Zack Snyder himself dropping posts, and they're the number one trending thing on Twitter after he does that. It's wild. It's wild.
And it's what, like 4 hours long or whatever?
It's gonna be 4 hours.
HBO Max.
Zack Snyder is a funny guy because all his movies, what he says is he films a bunch of shit, and then like he cuts down. And he's like, this is just how I am. If I have an idea, I'm gonna film it. Some filmmakers just film what
specific
they have.
Things.
Exactly. He's like, nah, this might make sense, and he keeps it. So now he's like, look, I had he literally said, what you've seen in the movie is like 10% of what I shot. I got 3 hours left of this shit.
God.
And the plan was to release it. So the way he marketed it to HBO when AT&T came in, he said, look, let me help you out here. I have 4 hours of content. We'll release 4 one-hour episodes with directors' commentary and stuff after. A bit like Game of Thrones, right? You use the episode and then there's a bit of talk after. He's like, let's do that. We keep buzz going for a couple weeks and everything. And they're like, yeah, that's great. But the Warner Brothers executives who hate him, because Warner Brothers, you notice on Twitter, they don't post this. HBO Max does, AT&T does, HBO does, Warner Brothers doesn't do it. They were like, no. Because there's some financial implications. You have to pay the actors more or something like that. They're like, absolutely not. And some insiders have said, it's going to be a 4-hour shot, and that's it. And the reason is they think that fans are going to be turned off by sitting there for 4 hours to watch.
Nah.
And Zack Snyder's like, right into my hands, baby. He's like, fuck that. I'm going to put out 4 hours. I don't care. We're going to do it. And people are going to sit, and there's an intermission. he confirmed that he has a 10-minute musical intermission. So if you need a break,
Wow.
and you want to watch it in a go, and this is why I'm like, Snyder is too good. Like he got the intermission, and they changed the score of the movie as well to some nonsense, happy-go-lucky nonsense. But he's brought back Junkie XL, who worked with Hans Zimmer on the original stuff, to do the score, and they've got a beautiful piece of music in the intermission.
Wow. So wait, question. These plans didn't necessarily factor in the pandemic, right?
So they announced the movie in May 2020, I think, but the negotiations started before the pandemic.
So the whole HBO Max thing is a new concept, right? Like pandemic wise, in terms of putting it straight to TV.
I think it was always going to go on HBO Max because Warner Brothers didn't want anything to do with it.
So you're saying it wouldn't have gone to cinemas?
It still will. It's just that like he said it's probably going to go to cinemas, but after it's on HBO Max, because Warner Brothers are going to realize that people like this, and it's going to be probably a hit, and they're like, why wouldn't we? So he's prepared to cut two ways of seeing it. One, well, the reason the intermission exists is because when it gets to theaters, you can get 10-minute break, go to the bathroom, walk around, and then come back. He's thought about this, and he's got a black and white version, and he's got a colored version, and he's edited it and filmed it for IMAX. So he's like, I'm ready, baby. Just tell me when you need me to put it in theaters. I'm ready, bro.
Wow. Is he getting paid from AT&T?
I think so. Because
it's going to be a lot. It's going to be...
It's a crazy story, man. To think that a studio could use the death of someone's child like that. Like, I don't know.
And is there any other movies, though? This is all just Justice League Central. Like, apart from the Ultimate Edition that came out of Batman vs Superman. So Justice League is the only other one. Everything else, no. Is there any other movie that's supposed to come out in that whole line or no?
The only other thing that people are really talking about is the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. So apparently that's another movie that was totally changed, and Zack Snyder is working with them. Well, he's trying to convince them to release that because it's actually supposed to connect to Justice League, but they obviously removed that connection. And this is where Jared Leto gets interesting. So in the Justice League movie, there are characters that we didn't see in the theatrical one. One of them being the Joker, which is a new thing that he didn't film before, that he decided to add. And the reason he's adding it is he said this is the last thing I do with DC characters. It doesn't make sense that Ben Affleck's Batman and Jared Leto's Joker don't interact with each other.
Yep.
And he found a way to fuse it in a way that makes sense to the story, because he's like, I just want you guys to have these characters that are supposed to be in this timeline together. And Green Lantern is supposed to get in this movie.
Wait, in Justice League?
Supposed to. I don't know if they contractually, because they wanted Ryan Reynolds to come back and redeem himself, but contractually they're not sure if they worked it out. So it might be like an alien Green Lantern because of that. But Green Lantern appears, Martian Manhunter appears in this, and we know who that is.
Who's
General. That? So remember the General, the black guy, the General Swanwick in Man of Steel?
Yes.
He's actually Martian Manhunter the whole time.
Wow, okay.
So there's going to be a scene where you see him, because he body morphs, right? Where you're going to see him morph. I'm not going to ruin which character, because I know who it is, who he changes out of. And I think he also has a scene in the final fight that he shows up. Okay. He's in it. Deathstroke is in it. Someone else is in it. The Atom is in it, which is Ryan Choi. The guy who goes smaller and stuff. There's another person who's in it, but yeah, Granny Goodness. So Darkseid is actually in it more than Darkseid wasn't even in the first one.
Yep,
Darkseid is in this, and Desaad, his minions, Granny Goodness is in it. It's wild, man. Like they're giving you at least 17 different DC Comics characters in one movie over 4 hours, bro. I told Amara already. I'm like, listen, I'm taking the day off work. Don't talk to me. Like it's going down. It's going down.
Well, I can't wait for it, man. I can't wait.
He dropped the trailer. Maybe we should take a look at it.
Yeah, let's do that.
Oh, And for the record, everyone knows now I'm a very big DC fan. Like
Yeah.
DC is my thing. I like Marvel because they're entertaining, but like you don't get the depths as you do with friggin' DC. You just don't. All right. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Tell me you can hear it.
I can hear it. I mean, even just from here. First of all, I'm not sure what he's screaming and why the ripples are coming out, but
This is when he died.
yeah.
So this part is when he died at the end of BVS.
Yes, I know. But like, what is the
Oh, the electricity?
the emanating like voice? It looks like his voice waves are like pulsing out.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
if you noticed. You don't
I
notice
didn't
that?
think of it that way. No, I didn't think of it that way.
The petals been wrong.
See those things there.
Oh yeah.
But in the dark, among the stars.
So this is Themyscira.
The mascara. Yep. We didn't even see the whole dome fall.
Yep.
I had a dream.
So
I never understood this dream,
So
honestly.
I'll explain this. So these are what they call the nightmare scenes.
Yep.
And the whole point of this is Batman is given a view into the apocalypse, into the future of the world if these guys win.
Yep.
If the bad guys win, which, by the way, is rumored that they actually do. So in Batman vs Superman, there's a
So
scene
they're
where
setting up their own end game type P.
and the funny thing is, and this is again the Marvel thing, this was supposed to come out before, like 2 years before that.
Oh,
You
okay.
can see how the stories kind of got taken from each other.
Yep.
But so this is the world, what it looks like when Darkseid and Steppenwolf and them guys actually win, right? That's what this looks like. So when in Batman vs Superman is a scene where he's dreaming, or he falls asleep, and then you see the Flash all of a sudden tell him Lois is the key, and you're like, what is that?
Yep.
Flash comes back from the past, time travels, and that's when you see him time traveling to tell Bruce.
Oh, to take Lois so we can bring Superman back so we can win the whole thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
And in fact, it's a misdirection because that's what you think it is, but it's really about the story that they were rumored to tell in part 2 was that Superman Lois dies at the hands of Darkseid, and Superman becomes bad because like he loses his mind. So they go back in time to take Lois to a certain location so she can't be touched by Darkseid. So that never happens.
Oh, so is that what the Black Superman is, or no?
No, that's not what the Black Superman is here. Black Superman, this is his like regenerative suit after he dies. It's from the comic books. He wears that. It's more like his home regenerative suit until he's ready to properly get out there and fight.
Almost like a premonition. Like there's an attack coming.
Look at that.
That's amazing. Like in the full suits.
Yep. And look at Steppenwolf. In the theatrical, he looked like shit.
Shit, exactly.
I'm building an alliance to defend ourselves. How do you know your team's strong enough? If you can't bring down the charging bulls and don't wave the
Look at that, man.
Man. Who's that? Oh, that's the father. Yeah.
So see this scene here? They cut her out of the movie. This is Iris West.
Oh, that's Iris. Yes.
They
His
cut her out the whole
girlfriend.
thing. We didn't even see this scene of him saving her. So
Shit.
that's also what you're gonna get in this movie. You're gonna get character development. That's why
More,
it's 4 hours.
because they didn't develop any of them.
Yeah, they're gonna flesh out all their stories so you understand who they are, why they want to do things, and then before they join the league.
Yeah.
Takes you the rest of your life.
Because they only showed one lame scene of Aquaman saving somebody from a boat, and then all of a sudden he's recruited.
Yep. That's the time travel. I think he's going to the Speed Force to time travel there.
It will.
That's an amazing shot.
It has to.
It's crazy that they call it that. Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yep.
It's a distant memory. Isn't that right? Batman.
So I'm confused. If you pause it there real quick, I'm confused. Is it Are they working together? Because he doesn't look like he's in shackles. He's wearing a bulletproof vest. Are they like working together?
So in the nightmare scene, which that is another one of the nightmare scenes, Batman. So here's the rumor story. Okay, that I've gotten is that Batman goes to like the world is ended. They've lost, and Superman is now on the bad side, and they need to get another mother box. Something to do with a mother box, and Joker knows where it is or has it. So Batman recruits Cyborg, who's still alive. At this point, Wonder Woman, Aquaman are dead. Mira is alive, and he gets Deathstroke as well, who's his enemy. Basically, like he creates this resistance, and they have to get to the Joker to get something. And that's when Joker is basically going to give him a lecture about who he is and whatever. And then they don't work together, but like he gets what he needs from the Joker. Yeah.
Well, so all these people are dead. Wow. And wait, Superman becomes bad because Darkseid kills his wife. Or?
You won't see that in this movie. The idea is the next movie, Darkseid kills Lois, and as a result, Superman. There's a thing called the anti-life equation, which removes all free will that Darkseid wields. And if you lose free will, you're basically able to be controlled by Darkseid. And Superman, as the big, normally can't just be controlled, but because he loses Lois, he loses all compassion, all humanity, everything that holds him, and he gives in to the anti-life equation and rules the world under Darkseid.
Okay.
But it's also the story is she was pregnant with his kid. And that's another reason why he lost it. But then they figure out a way to go back in time, figure that shit out. I think they go back in time twice, figure that shit out, and then save Lois, and then he wins in the end or something.
Okay. So are you saying that that's all in this movie? Like
everything I just said about Superman becoming bad is not in this movie.
Okay, but they might show it in the bad dream or whatever.
You see Superman bad in the nightmare, but you don't see like the full context of like Lois dying and like all that stuff.
Okay.
But I think in this one you get a vision of what the future could be like. I know Cyborg will hold a mother box, from what I've been told, and then he will get a vision into the future as well. And then they're like, "Listen, now, fam," and then they hopefully win. I think.
Well, Marvel and they're all doing their own Infinity War and Endgame essentially. So I find that very interesting. But yeah, I'm excited, looking forward to it. I can't believe it's only about a month away.
Yep, fam. This is all I've been doing the last couple of days, watching all the teasers and then the trailer. Oh man,
nice. I should probably find them on YouTube, right?
Yeah. If you go to Zack Snyder on Twitter, you will literally find them all in order.
All the teasers and trailers.
Yeah, and he's the one dropping them.
Okay. No, what I mean is like all the discussions and the analyses and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I'll send you the accounts to. There are literally guys who have been breaking this down and have inside sources and all this. There's one so everything I just told you about what happens in part 2. I watched this video from these guys who have been spot on. Because Zach has also been dropping like storyboards and hints about stuff this whole time, so it's not as if everything's a secret. So
nice. Yeah. Well, I hope you guys are excited as we are, because I definitely am, and we're definitely gonna have a bumper pod after the movie comes out.
Oh yeah,
talk about everything. So,
and then right after that is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So there's gonna be a lot of content.
Did you like the trailer? I'm
not a fan of that.
I'm not a fan of either of the characters. So
I haven't even watched.
I'm gonna watch it.
Captain America, I didn't watch. I don't remember which one.
With the one with Winter Soldier.
I watched Civil War. I watched the first one. Yeah, I didn't watch Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier is the one.
I heard it's the best.
It is pretty good. I think that's the first one we get introduced to the Maximoffs also, because they were in the same facility where he was created. So I think either way they are linked together, Sha, because it was all Hydra that created both of them. So
I think that's why my favorite movies in the Marvel MCU are and no, Infinity War. Endgame was all right, but it's continuation. But Infinity War, Black Panther, what's this other one? Well, the first Iron Man, of course. But I like the ones that have real hardcore stakes. Like they're serious. That's like Infinity War to me is the best Marvel movie, like by a long stretch.
Why?
It was fucking serious, and people died. Like I like that kind of stuff. Like Thanos was not a joke.
Nope.
Like he wasn't joking around, and Tony Stark and them were like deceased.
Yep.
There were real stakes here. Like we're not laughing, we're not joking around. Yes, Thor was fat, whatever, but like real things happened, and you had to deal with in the beginning of Endgame. 5 years have gone by. People are doing therapy and this and that, and I'm like, yes, this is a film. This is a movie. Like, do more of this. I don't like the cookie cutter thing that they did with the other movies.
But I think to me, Endgame was the best one. I mean, but I look at them, like you said, as a continuation of each other. Infinity War and Endgame. But I did like the fact that Iron Man died. I mean, I didn't like it, but it was a good way to tell a story. I like that he had a family. He didn't lose the family, even though they went back in time. All that kind of stuff to me was a good ending to the whole thing. So
yeah,
it was good. It was good. I can't believe though that they ended both Captain America and Iron Man in the same movie though. Like they retired both of them essentially.
I feel like I like that. It's bold. It's brave. Because like typically comic book characters just reboot them a couple years later. Now you're gonna have to justify
bringing them back,
or you move on. I think I really like that. To me, it's a brave move. Although everyone's doing multiverse now, so you're gonna see in the next Spider-Man movie, Tobey Maguire. You're gonna see Andrew Garfield, and in the Flashpoint movie,
aren't you gonna see what's his name again? Miles Morales also in that movie?
I don't think so. From what I heard, I haven't heard that one.
Oh, the only thing they did is create his own solo game, right? The Spider-Man
Spider-Verse, yeah.
So he's the theme character in the latest
the animated one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not the. I mean, in the video game.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Yes. So that's why I thought maybe his own solo Miles Morales movie would come out, or at least he'll be in the multiverse.
I think they should. I haven't heard that they will. I've heard of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and of course they're bringing their villains back. So clearly they're in it. Electro and Doctor Octopus.
Doctor Octopus, yeah.
Yeah, they're coming back. And on the DC side, Michael Keaton's coming back as Batman, and Ben Affleck will be Batman. So like everyone's doing multiverse now.
What is Michael Keaton coming back for? Like what movie?
Do you remember Batman Beyond?
I know, but what's he coming back for?
Oh, Flashpoint. The Flash movie.
Flashpoint. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I don't remember the actual movie. If there's anything in Batman Beyond that speaks to a forward and backward, I'm sure there isn't. Probably not. They weren't thinking about that then. I'm sure.
I don't. I know. All I know is going to go back in time again, and he's going to mess things up because that's what happens, right? Like Flash goes back in time and messes things up. So I think they're going to retire Ben Affleck, and then Michael Keaton will come in as Batman, but it's going to be a Batman that he trains. So either it's Batgirl or it's Terry McGinnis Batman Beyond, but we'll see.
Yeah, funny enough that you just said that. I was going to watch the series Batman Beyond on HBO. Just so I don't think I ever watched it. I'm going to start it.
It's too good.
Yeah, I'm going to watch that this month and then watch the movie. Which one comes before which? The series or the movie? I think one was 20.
The series was 1999 and onwards.
Was it 1999?
No, not you, Siri.
Same thing that happened to my phone. I thought, or maybe just the latest. When was the last episode of Beyond?
I think it was
on 2000 something, right? Like 19 or something like that. It was very recent.
So it was 99 or 2001. So the series came first. I know that, and they did a movie, and then they did Justice League Unlimited, where they ended not ended that, but they had like a 2-hour thing where they kind of brought Batman Beyond into it, and they went into the future. So Bruce now met Bruce then and met Terry McGinnis, and Static Shock was older. Green Lantern was like, they did that whole thing in like 2005 or so. Like that.
Yeah, there's so many angles to go, man. There's not enough time, and I wish I could find a way to like you know how I did the Star Wars. I did it in order. I tried to watch everything in order of time. So like I watched I forget the names, but the ones
Like,
the animated ones. I tried to put them in between all the movies.
You got
I
like
tried to follow,
someone,
I tried to
right?
follow
That's
I
like,
got the list and tried to follow the timeline. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
I like stuff like that. Like I like it to make sense to me in order of timeline. You know, that's why I was sticking to the whole end game, WandaVision. When are they exactly? You know, that's why I wanted to know what that is. So, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed our review. I mean, hopefully we didn't give too much away, but we like shit like that. So
it's all out there. It's a long one, so I'll put in there like timing descriptions, because you know, if you're a WandaVision fan and that's your thing, check it out. If you're like me and you're a DC nerd, check that out.
Yep.
And of course, things are getting serious back home, so we wanted to respect that.
Yep. But yeah, enjoy another good episode. Thanks, brother. This was good.
Anytime, my man.
Appreciate it. This is why you hook up with people like Bernie, because they know detail about a lot of stuff. So, I mean, I follow it casually, but I don't know the detail that he does. So that's why I had to ask you to talk about it.
That's all good.
All right, brother.
All right, man.
Peace.
Later.
Welcome to the talk shop.